know why. I think we all have an idea. I mean, we live in a time where it's very easy to want to present your best self in a way that we've never had this much attention. Just, whatever career you're in, whatever line of work, wherever you are in the world, everyone's got some profile on some social media that is getting judged. And so I think there's a lot of pressure on everyone to represent yourself in an amazing way when maybe that's not always the case, because who the hell is awesome all the time?
Right. Yeah, it's funny. I don't know what made me think about this. I lived in Newport Beach about 20 years ago in these beautiful townhome apartments, Lamborghinis, Ferraris driving around. I'm kind of in a beater BMW, but I got to know the general manager, and people threw a lot of trash around. I said, "What's the deal? You got all these beautiful cars, all these rich people. They keep throwing the trash all over the place." He goes, "Jim, you would be surprised at how many of these people are faking it. They can't even pay their rent. They're 2 or 3 months behind. Don't always believe what you see." And I think that goes back to having brave honesty, that we're so busy trying to impress everybody behind the scenes. Maybe they're not what they're pushing out to the world. And it just proves we're all similar, at the end of the day.
Yeah. And I'll go back to something that you mentioned earlier with values. To that person, it seems like high up on their values would be reputation, prestige, maybe quote unquote influence, where, I feel like that's how you get in that trap a little bit of 3 months behind on rent and all of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Alex, just before we started the show, we touched on having a voice, and I'm not going to go down a political road with it. But, for me, and I've already had the voice in this on this show, God is so important as a foundational element in what I do. And I think it's important that we all share our voice and help to make this world, this country, a better place. Where have you been on that as far as your business career and where you're going with things?
It's funny. It's one where, as we're saying this, I have no interest in politics. I think it's people arguing over things that don't really move the needle in any direction. And I don't have a team. I'm not red. I'm not blue. I think it's bonkers that we only have 2 teams. It's the greatest rivalry in history. What I do have sleepless nights, and over the last year and a half, and really over the last 6 months, that inarguably I was like, my soul just needs to speak up, is about humans and integrity and taking care of ourselves and the people we love in the way that we see fit for us. And that is one where I am trying to navigate this. And if people perceive it as political, that might just be their optics and how they view it. But for me, it's humans, it's people. And that's something where, and I had a good friend say to me, it's what I've decided to do with my life. It's what I speak about. It's what the book is about. It's all about believing in yourself and taking care and saying yes, like we're talking about. And so to not speak up and protect that across all areas would be insincere.
Yeah. And I think that speaking up, having a voice, is about having a productive conversation. It's funny.
Yeah.
I imagine you spend a fair amount of time on social media because you've got a big following, and that's where we reach out, if you will.
Yeah.
I was following somebody, and they were always attacking different people. Then they attacked me on some of my posts. And I just wrote them back very nicely. I said, "Hey, I appreciate that you have a freedom of speech, but let's focus on building people up instead of knocking them down," and a couple other things along those tones. Well, this person wrote me back this morning. He said, "Hey, I want to thank you for calling me out on that yesterday. As much as you, and I might disagree, any calls for civility and decency are very welcome, and I respect you for it." And I think that's where this country and we as a society need to go. What I try to promote is knowing my own truths. We're flooded with so much information. What is my own truth? What do I see around me? And what I see here in Montana is a lot of great, hardworking families, trying to get by and survive, whether that's COVID or the effects of that because of everything else. So I encourage you to find your voice. I know I'm finding mine, and I think people like us can help others say yes to their voice and what they're doing and where they're going.
That's awesome. And it's funny, man. And just to deep dive on that for 1 second, social media land, especially as, people are throwing fire, and I found something similar. And that's so beautiful of what you did, which is a form of brave honesty too, to not, there's an emotional part of us that wants to just lash back and throw a fireball back, but for you to come with that grace and patience ultimately leads to something better. So that's very cool.
Yeah. Alex, you've got a great book out. I'm going to post your Amazon link and your Instagram link on the show notes. Is there anything else you want to throw out there to people? Where else to find you? What you have going on?
Yeah, and Jim, thank you so much. And, that's amazing. So speaking at organizations and colleges, that's what fires me up in the book. And like I mentioned, I run a men's community for high achievers to just have a space of support and accountability. And that's called Men We Admire. I just appreciate it so much, Jim.
Alex, thanks for coming on the show, all that you do, and we look forward to following your story.
Awesome.
Thank you for listening to today's show. It is my pleasure and honor to interview all of the guests that have been on the Answer is Yes podcast. If you have enjoyed the show, please go on iTunes and subscribe, give a rating, or simply tell a friend about the show. We also believe in the message of our guests and the positive influence of their stories. As my own mentor and coach, David Meltzer, has taught me, spend some time every day thinking and writing about the things in your own life that you have more than enough of. You will find out how blessed we really are. Please visit my website, livelifedriven.com, for the latest updates about me and what I'm doing. Plus, I post a monthly blog about the many topics on this show. This podcast can also be found there. As I learned early on in life, what you believe is what you will achieve. Thanks, Mark Victor Hansen, and thank you, and have a great week.